Good morning, Team Alabama. Please join me in reading on page 252. 252. I whip around. It's come from the left, so I can pick it up very well. And the voice was hoarse and weak. Still, it must have been Peta. Who else in the arena would call me sweetheart? My eyes peruse the bank. Peruse meaning look, over. But there's nothing, just mud, the plants, the base of the rock. Peta, I whisper, where are you? There's no answer. Could I just have imagined it? No, I am certain it was real, and very close at hand, too. Peta. I creep along the bank. Well, don't step on me. I jump back. The voice was right under my feet. Still, there's nothing. Then his eyes open, unmistakably blue, in the brown mud and green leaves. I gasp and am rewarded with a hint of white teeth as he laughs. It's the final word in camouflage. Forget chucking weights around. Peta should have gone into his private session with the game makers, painted himself into a tree or a boulder or a muddy bank full of weeds. Close your eyes again, I order. He does, and his mouth too, and completely disappears. Most of what I judge to be his body is actually under a layer of mud and plants. His face and arms are so artfully disguised as to be invisible. I kneel beside him. I guess all those hours decorating cakes paid off. Peta smiles. Yes, frosting. The final defense of the dying. You're not going to die, I tell him firmly. Says who? His voice is so ragged. Says me. We're on the same team now, you know, I tell him. His eyes open. So I heard. Nice of you to find what's left of me. I pull out my water bottle and give him a drink. Did Cato cut you? I ask. Left leg, up high, he answers. Let's go get to you in the stream and wash you off so that I can see what kind of wounds you've got, I say. Lean down a minute first, he says. Need to tell you something. I lean over and put my good ear to his lips, which tickle as he whispers, remember, we're madly in love, so it's all right to kiss me anytime you feel like it. I jerk my head back, but end up laughing. Thanks, I'll keep it in mind. At least he's still able to joke around, but when I start to help him to the stream, all the levity disappears. It's only 2 feet away. How hard can it be? Very hard when I realize he's unable to move an inch of his own on his own. He's so weak that the best he can do is not to resist. I try to drag him, but despite the fact that I know he's doing all he can to keep quiet, sharp cries of pain escape him. The mud and the plants seem to have imprisoned him, and I finally have to give a gigantic tug to break him from their clutches. He's still 2 feet from the water, lying there, teeth gritted, tears cutting trails in the dirt on his face. Look, Peta, I'm going to roll you into the stream. It's very shallow here, okay, I say. Excellent, he says. I crouch down beside him. No matter what happens, I tell myself, don't stop until he's in the water. On 3, I say. 1, 2, 3. I can only manage 1 full roll before I have to stop because of the horrible sound he's making. Now he's on the edge of the stream. Maybe this is better anyway. Okay, change of plans. I'm not going to put you all the way in, I tell him. Besides, if I get him in, who knows if I'd ever be able to get him out. No more rolling, he asks. That's all done. Let's get you cleaned up. Keep an eye on the woods for me, I say. It's hard to know where to start. He's so caked with mud and matted leaves that I can't even see his clothes, if he's wearing clothes. The thought makes me hesitate a moment, but then I plunge in. Naked bodies are no big deal in the arena, right? I've got 2 water bottles and Rue's water skin. I prop them against the rock in the stream so that the 2 are always filling while I pour the 3rd over Peta's body. It takes a while, but I finally get rid of enough mud to find his clothes. I gently unzip his jacket, unbutton his shirt, and ease them off him. His undershirt is so plastered into his wounds that I have to cut it away with my knife and drench him again to work it loose. He's badly bruised with a long burn across his chest and 4 tracker jacker stings, if you count the one under his ear. But I feel a bit better. This much I can fix. I decide to take care of his upper body first to alleviate some of the pain before I tackle whatever damage Cato did to his leg. Since treating his wounds seems pointless when he's lying in what's become a mud puddle, I manage to prop him up against a boulder. He sits there, uncomplaining, while I wash away all of the traces of dirt from his hair and skin. His flesh is very pale. in the sunlight, and he no longer looks strong and stocky. I have to dig the stingers out of his tracker jacker lumps, which causes him to wince, but the minute I apply the leaves, he sighs in relief. While he dries in the sun, I wash his filthy shirt and jacket and spread them over boulders. Then I apply the burn cream to his chest. This is when I notice how hot his skin is becoming. The layer of mud and the bottles of water have disguised the fact that he's burning with fever. I dig through the first aid kit I got from the boy from District 1 and find pills that reduce your temperature. My mother actually breaks down and buys these on occasion when her home remedies fail. Swallow these, I tell him, and he obediently takes the medicine. You must be hungry. Not really, it's funny. I haven't been hungry for days, says PETA. In fact, when I offer him Grusling, he wrinkles his nose at it and turns away, and that's when I know how sick he is. PETA, we need to get some food in you. I insist. It'll just come right back up, he says. The best I can do is to get him to eat a few bites of dried apples. Thanks. I'm much better, really. Can I sleep now, Katniss? He asks. Soon, I promise. I need to look at your leg first. Trying to be as gentle as I can, I remove his boots, his socks, and then very slowly inch his pants off of him. I can see the tear in Cato's sword made in the fabric above his thigh, but it in no way prepares me for what lies underneath. The deep inflamed gash, oozing both blood and pus. The swelling of the leg, and worst of all, the smell of festering flesh. So, very infected leg that just kind of stinks right now. I want to run away, disappear into the woods like I did that day they brought the burn victim to our house, go and hunt while my mother and Prim attend to what I have neither the skill nor the courage to face. But there's no one here but me, and I try to capture the calm demeanor my mother assumes when handling particularly bad cases. Pretty awful, huh, says PETA. He's watching me closely. So, I shrug like it's no big deal. You should see some of the people they bring my mother from the mines. I refrain from saying how I usually clear out of the house whenever she's treating anything worse than a cold. Come to think of it, I don't even much like to be around coughing. First thing is to clean it well. I've left on PETA's undershorts because they're not in bad shape, and I don't want to pull them over the swollen thigh and all around. Maybe the idea of him being naked makes me uncomfortable. That's another thing about my mother and Prim. Nakedness has no effect on them, gives them no cause for embarrassment. Ironically, at this point in the games, my little sister would be of far more use to PETA than I am. I scoop my square of plastic under him so I can wash down the rest of him. With each bottle I pour over him, the worse the wound looks. The rest of his lower body has fared pretty well. Just one tracker jacker sting and a few small burns that I treat quickly, but the gash on his leg, what on earth can I do for that? Why don't we give it some air, and then I trail off. And then you'll patch it up, says PETA. He looks almost sorry for me, as if he knows how lost I am. That's right, I say. In the meantime, you'll eat these. And I put a few dried pear halves in his hands and go back to the stream to wash the rest of his clothes. When they're flattened out and drying, I examine the contents of the first aid kit. It's pretty basic stuff. Bandages, fever pills, medicine to calm stomachs, nothing of the caliber that I need to treat PETA. We're going to have to experiment some, I admit. I know the tracker jacker leaves draw out infections, so I start with those. Within minutes of pressing the handful of chewed up green stuff into the wound, pus begins pouring down the side of his leg. I tell myself this is a good thing and bite the inside of my cheek hard because my breakfast is threatening to make a reappearance. Katniss, PETA says. I meet his eyes, knowing my face must be some shade of green. He mouths the word, "How about that kiss?" I burst out laughing because the whole thing is so revolting. I can't stand it. Something wrong? He asks a little too innocently. I'm no good at this. I'm not my mother. I've no idea what I'm doing, and I hate pus. I say, ew. I allow myself to let out a groan as I rinse away the first round of leaves and apply the second. Ew. How do you hunt? He asks. Trust me. Killing things is much easier than this, I say. Although, for all I know, I am killing you. Okay, we're going to stop there for today. Please go ahead and add some facts to your Hunger Games Google Doc, and some vocab, and maybe some questions. How does she help his leg to get better? Does she get medicine? Does she find some plant that helps? Is he ever able to move again? Does he improve? There are a whole bunch of questions you can ask about this. So please add to your questions, and hopefully you're getting close to 10. Have a great rest of your day.